All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Infinite Abilities podcast. I have a great guest today. Her name is Isabella, and she's incredible. She has cerebral palsy like I do, and she's on this fitness journey, which is actually inspiring me to do more with my fitness. You know, I've been watching her on Instagram, and she is awesome. So now I'm pushing myself even more because of her. So, Isabella, thank you for coming on the show. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk more about my fitness journey and how that's been going.
So, can you share with us how cerebral palsy has influenced your approach on fitness and wellness?
Yeah, so my fitness journey, I feel like began in 2019. I was in college at the time and I wanted to incorporate fitness more into my routine. And with cerebral palsy, my approach to fitness is almost always having functional goals, like if I can improve aspects of my daily life, um, the better off I am going to be in the long run. And
Mhm.
I had to learn how that basically I needed to approach it from the aspect of just understanding that, oh gosh, um, that my CP, it's that I'm not limited to the, oh man, let's see. I'm not limited as much as I think I am,
Mhm.
because there were certainly movements that I could do, and um, but there were ways that I could improve them, and so started with physical activity, and then turning that into just my overall wellness. I just could learn how to move a lot smoother, and that just smoother will help me be able to become faster without necessarily rushing.
Mhm.
So that's how I just had to approach the physical and the wellness with my cerebral palsy.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
yeah, like for me, like there's, I'm I'm realizing that there's more exercises that I can do than I
Hmm.
thought I could do. So it's actually helping me. I love watching you because I'm like, all right, she can do that. I can do more than what I'm currently doing. So I just want to thank you.
Yeah. And it's really cool because one of the first movements that I realized I could really improve on was doing step ups.
Hmm.
Just simply, if you're going up the stairs, that kind of thing, going up and down curbs. Um, and it's such a simple movement, but people often don't realize how hard that could be
Hmm.
for somebody with a disability. Um, there's a lot of movements that you're thinking about between the balance and the actual strength to push yourself up onto a step and the control you have to have coming down. So
Yeah.
um, the the way that I knew I made a milestone was when I was able to finally step up and down without any assistance, like
Mm-hmm.
not using any hands, not using an object near me,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just being able to do that consistently. It was just such a big uh, milestone for me because throughout my entire life, I always thought I needed a handrail, and those tools are so good to have in case you need it. Um, But it was just so nice to know, like, okay, if I can make it to this point, what other movements could I expand on and see myself doing? Um, so it was always kind of like, let's push it to the next level and translate to other simple movements like sit to stands, or you can just call them squats and stuff like that. And kind of making sure I get the form down um, and specifically with like my cerebral palsy, it's you have to learn a lot how to get your brain and body to connect to get those
Mm-hmm.
movements correct. So it's a lot of repetition. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but once your muscle memory kicks in, it's like you almost can't imagine, not doing it the way you did before. It's
Yeah.
it's just so wild. Um, but consistency and doing it correctly is definitely key there. Um, and that was so cool to have so early on in my journey, as well as like seeing myself, um, you know, um, become more energetic and losing some weight. And so to have that be such a big thing in 2019 was so impactful. And I definitely give myself credit for getting there, and doing the work. But my personal trainer at the time, Noah, he's such an awesome person, and he, when I first met him, he was very kind and made sure to research on cerebral palsy and what was best for me. And the cool thing I learned as I did sessions with him was that he kind of understood how to not view a person based on their disability, that they can do so much more,
Mm-hmm.
um and just live lives like everyone else. So he was able to kind of do some research on my specific disability and translate that into a workout that um would help towards my goals.
Mm-hmm.
And like 2020 to like 2023, I had a set of surgeries that made my fitness journey kind of interesting. Um, I had to get a lot of, or a few foot surgeries, that required some downtime, of course. Um, but that beginning of my journey where I had done so much beforehand, made me realize like, okay, I know that my previous level of function is like really high, and I know where I need to be. Um, so a lot of my goals through physical therapy were to get to those points where I could get up and down steps, walk a lot better, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and strengthen a lot of muscles that I don't normally use on a day-to-day basis. Um, and so like having my, journey recorded and just seeing all those different landmarks was so impactful for me, and it's important to just remember that yes, I can do those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's not nice to look back at where you were so then you can see how far you came. I think this is something that a lot of us don't really focus on, and I
Yeah.
think we should. You know, we can we tend to get down on ourselves day to day simply because we don't look at yesterday and realize how far we came. You know, it's very
Yeah, and
important.
it's certainly, whether you're about to go through surgery or you're going through recovery right now, it is so hard to, you know, take the time to rest and not rush.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's a reason why everything has to take its time, and you can look at those um, views of your past self, but you know, you're gonna try and aim for where you were, but also try to improve on um, what you can do better now that things, are fixed, and you're in a better physical place. And
Mm-hmm.
so between that and I personally find like my fitness journey just helps me a lot mentally as well. Um, I have such a better appreciation for the little things in my daily routine. Um, whether it's just doing like household chores and taking care of my pets, um, things like that. It's just, it connects with the fitness journey and how you have to see your fitness journey as a connection to what translating into your daily life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and all of those things just connect in a, endless loop of wellness. Um, and it's just something that people often kind of take for granted, of course. But I think for us as people with cerebral palsy, we can certainly, you know, take those little things and appreciate them more. But
Mm-hmm.
but as you gain more abilities, it's nice to be like, okay, cool, I have this cool tool in my back pocket whenever I need to use it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it is nice when you start to do more. Because yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know if you're like me, but like the more I do, the more I won't want to do. You know, I push myself to do even more because I'm like, all right, I can do that. What else can I do? You know.
Yeah, I certainly do that, and then I kind of get in a trap sometimes where I overdo it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because sometimes we have our good days and our bad days, but we wanted to push ourselves as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to acknowledge when rest is needed, and I think that's another aspect that's really important,
Mm-hmm.
especially in fitness. Um, the rest days are they're just going to be as important as fitness days. But as long as everything else is consistent, and you're able to feel well enough to push yourself, I think that's okay as long as it's, in a safe manner. um,
Yep. So I know that you're in college. So how have you had to adapt in college with having cerebral palsy?
yeah, so during my time in college, I had to acknowledge that um, I do need to take more time to get from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, that's definitely a big consideration whenever I go somewhere. Um, as well as I had to take in consideration my living arrangements and make sure I advocate for myself to get the accommodations I need. And thankfully, housing was very kind and um, gave me all the accommodations I needed. Um, and I know a lot of people, when they go to college, they really want to get an apartment, be off campus if they can. But for me, almost being on campus was the better option, just because it helped me be closer to all the classes and
Mm-hmm.
places I needed to be. So that was a big win for me. And the biggest struggle, honestly, was trying to get everywhere on campus. And so I just had to remind myself a lot to not rush, and that whatever activity I exerted walking around campus, I had to think about all the other aspects of my day. So when uh, I was working for the Spectator, I did actually have an accommodation to work from or work remotely. So if there was ever a day that I wasn't physically like thinking I could make it in person, I had no problem being able to work from a distance. And I think that's important to advocate for yourself, demonstrate through your work how you're able to still provide and contribute to your work environment, whether they're in person or at home. Um, because at the end of the day, wellness is very important in all aspects. And so advocating for any accommodations that you need, whether it's at school or for your home, it's so important. And I think sometimes people can feel afraid that, people are going to say no, but the more that you advocate for yourself and express what you need and why you need it, the
Mm-hmm.
more likely people are going to listen.
Yep, exactly. And that's something that I struggle with. Even as still, I don't like asking for help. I like to do
Yeah.
things on my own, but you know, you can't do that. Like there's people who love helping you. So just
Yeah.
you know, tell people what you need, and basically don't make your life any harder than it already is.
Yeah.
We are already living a very hard life, so don't make it even harder just because you don't want to ask for help. You know?
Yeah. And there's certainly the balance of like when people should ask um if you need help versus uh yourself, asking for help from a person directly. Um and yeah, we're already adapting to a world that's not fully adapted to what our levels are.
Hmm.
So, it's sometimes hard to ask for help, especially if you're recovering or if your daily activities, require more help than the average person. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's totally okay. We're people, and people can't face everything alone. So
Yeah,
um,
and
asking for
it's
help
like,
is just should be a normal thing.
yeah, as long as you don't ab- abuse it.
Yeah,
Don't be lazy and just try to get everybody to do things for you. Don't do that. You know, you gotta just ask for help when you need it, not when you won't want help. Just when you need help. You know.
yeah. It's definitely as necessary.
Hmm. So, can you tell us about like an inspiring or transformative moment in your fitness journey?
Yeah. Um, oh man, I feel like there's so many. Um, but I think one of the biggest moments in my fitness journey was when I decided to do the CrossFit Open for the first time. I was being introduced to CrossFit as like a sport in kind of, I would say in 2022. And again, my coach happened to be Noah, because we were both moving on to CrossFit, and a lot of the exercises we did back in 2019 actually translated seamlessly into CrossFit. And for those who don't know what the CrossFit Open is, it's a type of, I wouldn't say it's a competition, but it's a place where you can do like a series of benchmark workouts over a series of 3 weeks. And they have multiple divisions. They even have divisions for adaptive athletes. And you can still scale them down to whatever your activity level or fitness level is at. So I know I was certainly hesitant to do it because I wasn't sure if I had to be at a certain level to even compete and all that. But um, Noah was like, no, just do it. We'll just see where you're at. And I was like, okay. And the cool thing was, I know a lot of CrossFit gyms do this, but um, the gym I was at the time, they did these like Friday night lights where people that were doing these CrossFit open workouts would come in, and you're basically competing against yourself, whether it's for, trying to reach a certain amount of reps, um, or just trying to get all these movements done in a specific time. And um, it was just really cool because I had invited friends to come out and watch, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do. Um, and I did a lot better than I thought I was gonna do. And each workout is different from, each respective one. So it was always kind of a little nerve wracking to be like, okay, what is this workout gonna have this week? Um, because sometimes depending on the week, they can be kind of hard. But just knowing that Noah was and I were gonna talk about, how we were gonna adjust the workout to my level, always kind of made me feel better because then I knew I could, meet those goals, even if it was, a little bit adjusted. But it just proved like how much I progressed in my abilities, and just how like smoother my movements were, and just kind of also highlighted some things I needed to work on. So I don't know, it was just so cool, and I felt so proud of myself for doing all of those things, and just made me happier to look forward to what I needed to work on so I could do even better the next year.
Yeah, that's so awesome, and you know, it's really something that pushes you out of your comfort zone, which is
Hmm.
something that I talk about frequently. It's like let's keep doing things that makes us uncomfortable because that's how we're going to grow in life. So I love hearing that you keep on pushing yourself. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, I
So
that's definitely important. Like the more you can push
yeah.
yourself out of your comfort zone and just try new things, the more confidence you build it in yourself to do
Hmm.
even just more things. It's amazing.
Exactly. So, what does your abilities are infinite mean to you?
Oh, I like this question. So abilities are infinite. I see that as that I can do a lot more than I ever can picture myself thinking. Like, I progress and now I need to find a way to make it harder, make it um, more, coordinate more movements in it, um, continue to push myself to become the person that I want to be. Um, and doing that in a way that can use my movements in the present and um, keeping myself accountable and just seeing that progression over time because my abilities are infinite. I just have to continue to tap into all the areas that will continue to improve over time.
hmm I love that answer, and that's very similar to how I think about it. But I love that question because I love seeing the different answers that I get. I
Yeah,
had one the other day, and I was like, "Huh, never thought of it like that." But that's awesome. So yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So how can people find more about you?
So you can find a lot about me through my Instagram. That's where I post the most frequently. That I am Schneider 11, and I do have a Facebook page where I post very similar things, as well as a blog that I am working on also under I am Isabella, and that's coming back very soon. That's a goal that I'm working on as a writer. But to see all my fitness stuff is definitely Instagram. I have more posts on the way of what I've been currently working on. And
hmm
yeah, I hope to talk to a lot of you guys.
Awesome. And I'll put in the show notes the links to everything that you just talked about. So everybody
Yeah,
will I'll be able to find you. And yeah, it's been great talking to you. I love your story. I love what you're doing. I love how you push yourself. You know, I
yeah,
want more people like us in the world. Like we don't stop. We usually have a great attitude. Not
mhm,
always, but we try our best, right? So yeah,
yeah,
just thank you for being on the show. I look forward to talking to you again. And all right, everyone, remember your abilities are infinite.